YouTube. Just wanted to do a video on the Graco Magnum X5. A little background here. I am a professional painter. I do not usually go for commercial stuff just because I don't live anywhere that it's really easy for me to get them serviced. So this works well for me. The issue with these homeowner type models is that the pumps wear out pretty quick. They're actually only rated for, I don't know, it's under 100 gallons I think. Usually in a season I'll put a good 400 or 500 at least through one of these, and the pump holds up alright, but usually every spring I'm replacing a pump. So pretty much there's no way to repair it. What happens is that eventually you'll notice that it'll start leaking right under there. You can kind of see right here, but you'll see paint start leaking out from under there. And what happened with this particular one, I've always used these, I've always had an X5. The first one I had, we put thousands of gallons through. They were built a little bit tougher. It's 10 years ago probably, but yeah, eventually the pumps just wear out and you got to replace them. It's not that big a deal. There's a couple different models of this. Let me see here. This one doesn't have the little push button prime situation. There are models that have a little push button. Actually, that one down there has it. This one, what happened with this one towards the end of the season, the pump had started leaking and we didn't realize it, and we took the pressure off of it and left paint in it over the weekend, and inside it dried just enough that when the motor spun, it tore the gears up. So I think that's this one. Like I say, I got a couple of them, but really it's what fails on them is usually the pump. In this case, the gears went, so it was pretty much done. But this is kind of a parts machine, obviously now, so we'll go through a couple of the things that, a couple troubleshooting items here too, with not priming and stuff like that. But this is going to be mostly a pump replacement video, so I'll get back to you here. Well, the first step here is going to be taking out these star bits, they're Torx bits I believe. I pop those out and I'll show you what's in under there. So you got those 4 screws. After you get those 4 bolts out of the front, there's one on each side of this housing here, one on the opposite side, right there. And then there's, I think, 3 up here and 1 down there. So I'll take those out. Well, must be a pain in the butt, I guess. some reason that hole down there is a little bit smaller. And so is this one. Alright. Gonna make something tough. So I gotta figure out a way to get a little longer bit. So there's what you get. You end up with the paint leaking out. And I'll crack that piece open here too. But yeah, that's what happens. This is in really bad shape. Like I say, I think this is the one where the gears gave out. That was some ugly paint we were using too. But yeah, it is. That pump is totally done. Yeah, when the pump fails and it fills the gears here, you're pretty well screwed. But yeah, hopefully, I'm not even sure that this one is the one that the gears ground off on or not. So I'm going to open it up here a little bit and see what happens. So when this gets all gummed up, this one is really bad. But here's where your pump comes out. That's basically right there is where it fails. The plunger goes in and out of there and makes pressure into here. But this big gear gets gummed up and doesn't turn very well, and then it's turned by that little splined one up there, and that's usually what fails, and that's a permanent part of this motor, so you can't really replace that right there. So it's certainly better to catch this early on. So if you see paint leaking from the bottom, it's just best just to stop where it's at, take it all apart, take the pump out and add a new pump, and then not worry about that. And then when you put it all back together, you get a new pump in there, make sure everything's all greased up good and tight, and then you should be good to go. I mean, what happens is this gets gummed up and then this bottom gear doesn't turn, and then this one slips over the top, and you can probably see that it's rounded off. And that might be the paint there, I don't know. We'll get it apart and see what it looks like from there. So the other issue with letting this paint dry, and this thing has been sitting for probably 2 years, just the way you saw it, me cracking it open, it sat like that. So the problem is, obviously paint dries on there, and then it's impossible to get that part back out through here. So that's where the shaft goes in to there. And you can even see on top there, I mean, it was just, there's so much paint in there, it's just almost impossible to get this, just to pull this shaft through the hole there. And the holes, you know, there's plenty of room, but yeah, it's almost impossible. And I mean, I don't know if you could see the bearings in there and stuff, but it's just trashed. But obviously this whole thing is pretty much trashed. The pump is done, the motor's obviously done. So, but to give you a look on the inside here, that's kind of what it looks like. But you know, there's some parts on here that we can use. I'm probably just gonna throw this one. I have to do a new pump in that one next. So, and that one just started leaking here about a week ago. So we'll do a little comparison on that too and see how that looks compared to this. I actually put a different pump in that one last year, so this one was just gonna see what was going on, and obviously that's all worn down too, so that's what happened with this one. Obviously it got too full of junk and stopped turning, and the gear slipped, and now it won't run it anymore. So when you get a new pump, you don't get a new one of these, so you're pretty much screwed if the gears go. The pump is anywhere from, I don't know, 130 bucks to 150 bucks, somewhere in there. I'll link to it in the description. You can get yourself one on eBay or wherever. And yeah, but I thought I'd show you what the inside of this thing looks like, and maybe do a pump replacement, but I kind of had a feeling that wasn't going to happen. Sorry about my light, I don't know what's going on with it, but that's the Graco Magnum X5. I'll be doing a pump replacement on the one down there here, and maybe this week. I think I get it in a couple days, so I'll show you what that looks like. But yeah, once you start leaking, make sure you shut down and just get a new pump. And it's not that tough. Obviously letting the paint dry in there over 2 years, and it was pretty bad, made it really tough to take apart. But otherwise, it's just a few screws. You get it down to this point basically, and then there's a screw here and a screw there, and that lifts this whole piece off, and your gear and this roundup coupling come off, and then your pump right here comes out. There's also two screws up here too, right there and right there. And obviously this is a good idea to grease those bearings and stuff when you get everything taken apart. And you say I'll show you that on the newer one, on the better one. But yeah, so just a little video here. I'll get back to you guys.